Hello viewer of SSBC, welcome to another Talk to SSBC episode. My name is Duku Wilson and today I am glad to be joined by Beng Khomboor, a South Sudanese from South Sudan National Youth Union. Welcome to the program, Beng Khomboor.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you can briefly tell our viewer, who is Beng Khomboor?
Okay. Thank you, Wilson, for having me at the studio. I am really honored to be here. Beng Khomboor is a South Sudanese. Is a young persons working in the fields of the young people. I am working with South Sudan National Youth Union as the Secretary for External. At the same time, the reason why we are here is because of the new position that I got from the Great Lake regions, which is the second vice president that is representing. That position belongs to the young people, belong to the South Sudan. So this is basically who I am.
You said you are the second vice president of Great Lakes region. Great Lakes region or the Great Lakes region Youth Forum?
It's a youth forum. It's a forum for the young people. Of course, Great Lake has so many forums, but this particular forum was a forum meant for the young people. Okay. So this is a youth forum.
Okay.
Yes.
What is this Great Lakes region forum all about?
You know, Great Lake region forums go way back in 2011 when all the countries along the lake region came together and signed a treaty. These countries are about 12. Those 12 countries, they are the countries that comprise the Great Lake region. So when they came together, they also came up with other programs, and they look at areas of the young people as a program that need to be established and promoted. And this is when the forum came in about.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the objectives of this forum?
The forum's objective of the forums is to make sure that at the level of the regions, young people need are taken care of. You know, today in this world you cannot have conversations that do not touch young people because they are the future themselves. Yeah. So we looked at the objective is that how do we address issues to do with unemployment along the Great Lakes. How do we talk about the issues of the conflict that are affecting the young people within the Great Lake regions? How do we look at the issues of the innovations, technology? How do we promote all this? Yeah. How do we make sure that we bring young people at the region at one place to talk about the issues? Yeah.
Okay. So like how do you relate that in terms of the South Sudanese youth? How important is it to the South Sudanese? Is South Sudan part of it, part of the Great Lakes region, if I may ask?
Yeah, South Sudan is part of the Great Lake region.
Okay.
In fact, Great Lake regions, there are about 12 countries, as I told you.
Who are they?
And that is Angola, Zambia, Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, and South Sudan, and Sudan.
Okay.
So this country, if you look at it, these are the countries that the Nile is passing, or these are the countries that are one way or another contribute to the water that goes to the Nile. So that is in terms of who are the members of the Great Lake regions.
Okay. How is the membership? What are the requirements or the criteria to become a member?
By the virtue that you are from one of these countries along the Nile, one of these 12, you are qualified to be a member of the forum. So long as also you are within the age bracket of the young people in that region. And it's important to say that, of course, we are using this African Charter age bracket group from 18 to 35.
Okay.
Yes.
You talked of one of the objectives is to see how the Great Lakes region member states can prevent conflict. Did you say that?
Yes. How we could address issues to do with conflict.
For example, in South Sudan, the young people are used to, or they are engaged in conflicts. How do you minimize that?
You know, the Great Lake regions is a forum where we discuss challenges that are faced by the member states at that forum level. Now, these challenges, the member state will also come up with a resolution. Each member state will talk about the conflict at their levels, at their country. Now, people will look at the programs that need to be implemented. What are the matters that are matters of concern to a member state? So now, for example, our conflict. How can we, our conflict, you know, this conflict, we have conflict on cattle, we have conflict on political, we have conflict on all this kind of a conflict. There are conflicts which are already also being experienced in other countries. For example, we also share the same conflict with Burundi, what Burundi goes through today. So we can benefit from a Burundi experience. Burundi also can benefit from South Sudan experience. South Sudan can borrow one of the practice in the region and try to localize it in the best way possible, the best way they could understand it.
Okay.
Yes.
There is also an international conference on Great Lake region. Is the regional one part of that, or it is a separate one?
It's actually the same thing. This is International Conference on Great Lake Regions, ICGLR. These are the countries under the same. These are the countries that form the conference. Okay. The country along the lakes.
On the 3rd of November, I think from 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, 2nd to 3rd of November, you had a conference in Nairobi, I guess. What happened there?
Well, Kenya happened to be, he signed the host state in 2013 to host the forum, because these forums must be hosted by the member state. So Kenya took up from the Burundi to host the forum. The previous leadership in the forum term came to an end, so there was a need for people to organize afresh and bring in a new leadership. So on 1st November we traveled to Nairobi. South Sudan was represented by 3 delegates to go and participate in that forum. I happened to be the team leader for those
delegates. Were they chosen from South Sudan National Union, or where did they come from?
No, I am the only person who came from the National Youth Union.
The others came
they came from the youth groups, youth organizations. Okay. We have one person who came from youth organization. Then we have one person who currently she is a member of parliament, but previously she was holding a position, so she was outgoing members. So outgoing, they were invited such that they could hand over the leadership to the incoming. So she traveled on the ticket of the Great Lakes, but as we were nominated as a delegation to represent the South Sudan, so I was leading that delegation. Okay.
If you can take us back, when was this forum formed?
It was actually formed in 2011.
Where is it headquartered?
In Burundi.
Oh, in Burundi.
Yes.
Okay.
But for the youth forum, forum is being hosted by the Kenyan government.
By the Kenyan government.
So one of the member states must host it. Yeah.
Is it annually?
No, it is actually the conference happen after 2 years. After every 2 years, we conduct a new election.
So the conference is to conduct elections?
A conference is to evaluate and then conduct election to the new leadership. Of course, every leadership will come in for 2 years, serve, go through some of the strategic plans, those action plan. And by that, it is also important to mention that if each member state must have also a national office. So South Sudan here, we have established a national office in 2016 with the previous leadership of the outgoing person. That national office will coordinate the regional activities at our national level. Okay. Apparently, my positions, I'm supposed to sit at the regional office because that's what I'm representing. But we have a national coordinator, we call them national coordinator. Those are the people, we share the work plan with them. So some of these activities that are beneficiaries are channeled through their office, then they come and implement them in national states. So South Sudan is part of that and is enjoying those privileges.
Okay. Who is funding all these projects, all these activities?
The activities, they are actually at the regional level, they are mainly should be funded by the governments.
The government of individual country.
Yes, of course, the governments along the Great Lakes, there are certain fees toward the payments. They pay toward the activities, but of course there are other partners like international partners. We have the UNAPA, who is working closely with us at the regional level, even at the national level. Yeah, this is one of the strong partners so far that I have come across. But of course, there can be any other partners developmental partners who might be interesting to take up some of the activities and implement them at the national level. Yeah.
So you talked of annual fee. Can you elaborate more on that? Annual fee for the activities, apart from the partners, the support from the partners. What is that annual fee about?
Of course, every country there is a certain amount of fee they paid, but that one is left to the states, to the national secretariat. They discuss at that level. For example, a country could even go up to a $1 million US. A country could even go up to 2. But for right now, we don't have the exact figure. That one we left it to the national through the foreign affairs.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We are going for a short break. We will continue from there.
Thank you.
Viewer of SSBC, we are going for a short break. We'll be right back. Dear viewer, welcome back from that short break. I'm still with our guest, Mr. Beng Khomboor. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
If you can just tell me or tell our viewers, what has the Great Lakes Youth Forum achieved since its inception?
At the regional level, you know, when the office was formed in 2011, it took them almost a year to call for the General Assembly. So the first General Assembly did not do much because, you know, when establishments are happening, people are still trying to get the ideas, are still again trying to sell the ideas to the member state and all that. That kind of a process could take very long. So thing did not pick up. The second General Assembly, the same. The only thing they managed to do at our level is the establishment of the national office. Again, one of the biggest challenges they face, why they are not performing much, is because of the funding. Yes, you may have the office, you may have those beautiful ideas, but if you don't get government behind to support some of these activities you have, it will be difficult to move those activities. If you don't get other international partners to do the same things, it will be very difficult. Yes, you may have those beautiful ideas. So they did not do much. Some of the challenges they forwarded to us is, of course, the lack of an awareness from the government. So you go to our government and then you talk to them about this kind of forum. It needs some time for them to understand. And then secondly, also maybe, you know, with the kind of crisis and management we have been going through as a country, so it is very difficult to find funds to such kind of to fund those activities. But we are hoping that maybe it will be different this time around.
So the problem is funding. Do you have an office here in Juba?
Yes, we have a physical office here in Juba.
What is the collaboration between the Great Lakes region and the National Youth Union? What is the level of cooperation or collaboration?
Great Lake do not collaborate with the National Youth Union, but there are areas where they can partner, because these are two different institutions. The Great Lake, they have the office, they will collaborate and in line with the office. But if they want to partner with the National Youth Union, being the national youth body in this country, of course they can have a lot of activity to do together, and this is what we are looking for. Maybe it will be different this time around.
Okay. During the conference in Nairobi, what were some of the expectations of the conference? If I can take you back a little bit.
Well, you know, when we went for the conference, we had some two activities to look at. One of the activities we were looking at is the issues to do with the formations of the offices at the national estates.
Yeah.
By the way, most of these countries, they did not finish the establishments or formation of the national offices at their respective countries. It is only South Sudan and plus maybe other 2 or 3 countries who are managed to establish, but they did not get the office going. So one of the things that we expected is that the reports come from those offices. The regional office coordination can give the report to the conference. Then the conference will look at the report and the challenges that people are facing in that report. And then they see how do we support them at the regional level. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned some of the challenges like the funding issue. What are your immediate steps that you're going to take to convince maybe the government and including the youth to accept the regional youth forum?
Number one, we have done the mappings. We have done the partners mappings. Who are the partners that could support us? We know who are now the partners, but we know one of the main partners should be actually government. So what are the steps we are doing is that is to meet the relevant stakeholders and talk to them, get their commitment, and then follow with them. Because you talk to them, you meet them is not enough. You share with them some of the activities, you give them some of the budget line activities, and you tell them that you expect them to support it. So that one you will hold them more accountable. Of course, we have other partners which are very viable. They have shown us huge commitment. We shared with them also our work plan and the structures, the structure plan for 2023 to 2025. That will be a 3 years plan. We have shared it and we have laid out. So we expect our partners to pick some of the areas they feel obliged. Yeah.
You mentioned something about a lack of commitment from the government. Why do you think so?
You know, sometimes we can sign, and then if we are not engaged, followed about, you might even forget it, because this is not the only activities you are having in hand as the government. The government, of course, is running a lot of more activities. But if people keep coming back to you, getting more of your attention, maybe you will also give those people the attention they deserve. So that's why we need to strengthen our close tie and working together with the line ministries. And this is none other than the Ministry of Youth. We can also look at the Ministry of East African Affairs. We can also look at the Ministry like Foreign Affairs. We can look at what are the other ministries cutting across issues. We can look at it in terms of the employment. Where do we go when we are advocating for employment? All those things, we look at it and then we approach them. Yeah.
Do you have any plans to bring all the stakeholders on board? And
yes.
When?
When we came back with the program. Dissemination was one of the things. Radio, media, all the media, because media is one of the tools to disseminate the information. Conducting workshops, calling the government, all these programs, we have them and we have shared them with the relevant authority, such that we can get their attention and their mind. We bring them in the hall, we remind them about this program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So given all this situation, that this lack of funding, lack of commitment, what do you see is the way forward for successful implementation of the activities of the Great Lakes Youth Forum? What do you think is the way forward for the success of this?
I think one of the way forward should be the coordinations mechanism, good coordination mechanism between ourselves, with our partners, and even with the government. If we coordinate those activities very well, chances are we might arrive to the result that we want to see. Number two is that we will have to look at it. How did we do this thing previously, and how can we do it better this time around? So we have to look at the better way of approaching the matters. If it did not work previously, then we see how do we approach it better, so that we strengthen the cooperation. And then again, coordination between our national office and our regional office also is very important, because sometimes our regional office can talk to the government direct where we couldn't make it. They could write to the government, and then see. Maybe government will also carry that one a bit with the weight. However, we have not yet arrived to that level yet. We are still using the same mechanism we already have, and we want to build on those mechanisms and see. Now December is already here with us. You find a lot of people do not pay attention on December. People will pay attention on going for their family holiday and all that. So it's very hard to get everyone mind in. However, we want to roll out this plan as soon as next year, January, when people come back, and then see how do we continue engaging the government and the partner.
You said the forum was formed in 2014? 2011. This is more than 11 years, if I can say.
Yeah.
And no much activities have taken place. How are you going to turn around the situation?
Well, you see, really,
10 years is a big period of time.
10 years is a big, but you might look at it in that way. But when you go to the actual works, when you want to do something, you might even find out that 10 years they are not even more, they are even less. Because there are some works you really need time for those work to materialize. It's not a work that you can wake up one day and then you may conquer it. So what we are going to do different, as I said earlier, is to make sure that we must continue engaging. We must continue engaging. We must continue making our office relevant. We must continue seeking all those doors, support. We must continue engaging with the media. We must continue engaging in all platforms, so that this kind of things get avenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
What can the South Sudanese youth expect from the Regional Youth Forum in the next month or in the next 1 year?
Maybe we can talk about in the next 1 year. You know, there are activities that come from the regional. There are issues to do with the trainings, training the young people on skill trainings, workshops, exchange programs, whereby some young people from South Sudan can go and learn on other best practice that are being done in Uganda or in Kenya or any other part of Great Lake regions. And then those skills you can import them and export them back.
How do you involve everybody in such activities?
Of course, you will not always involve everybody, but we at least want to target the young people, and we don't want to minimize it only in Juba. We also have a plan that this kind of training should actually go all the way up to the states, because at the end of the day we will realize that we are doing too much in the capital, and the state is lacking behind. So we will want to push that every benefit that comes from the regional level should be felt equally in all the states. Yes, and administrative areas.
Okay. How do you involve women in such activities? Do you have a mechanism specific targeting the women?
No, we don't have, because the women, they also have a forums.
They have 35%, remember?
I remember they have 35, but they have forums. There is a forum for them. within the Great Lakes.
Okay. It's
There's a
separate
forum separate from this. But of course, even in the young people also, they are sisters. So sisters, they will also benefit with the other males. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to understand the youth as the biggest pictures. Of course, in the youth, we have to be very mindful of the gender.
Okay.
That's why even when the delegations are sent, we always make sure that the gender is equally represented.
Okay. So, Mr. Beng, as the Secretary for External Affairs for South Sudan National Youth Union and second Vice President, right?
Yes.
For
Great Lakes
region. What is your last message to the youth of South Sudan?
Okay. Times they may be difficult. We are in a very hard times as a country, where challenges are very many, and young people have been the victims. We've been the victims of everything, victims of the violence, we've been victims of the war, we've been victims of everything.
Yeah.
We are the young people, but at the same time, we are the beneficiaries of the peace. Yeah. Assume if there is a peace. If there is a peace, young people will have to be engaged, such that they can be free to associate, they can be free to work, they can be free to empower their ideas and all that. So what I want to tell them is that all is not lost. Times are difficult, but all is not lost. We must continue pushing. By the way, South Sudanese young people are the most resilient young people I've ever met. We have endured all the kind of struggle, and you can still see them, they are smiling. You can still see some of them waking up and going on their way to struggle. So I just want to assure them that your struggle will pay you, and it's going to pay you soon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to pay them very soon.
Okay.
Yes, so they should not lose hope. It is a high time that they should continue believing on what they already. We have struggled. We have come through all that hard time. We cannot give up as young people.
Okay.
Let's continue pressing on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Beng Khomboor, thank you for talking to SSBC. We hope to talk to you again some other time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. Our viewer, we have come to the end of this episode. See you again in the next exciting episode next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
So glad.
I'm glad.